Hi, my name is Jackie. I am an alcoholic. And like Mike said, what I've come to understand what that means is that I have an allergy of the body. I have an abnormal reaction to alcohol and forms of alcohol, and in my case, other chemicals and substances. And I also have this obsession of the mind, which sometimes, means that I can't stop thinking about anything but getting drunk. And sometimes the obsession of the mind just looks like I forget what happened the last time I took a drink. And more often than not, that's actually what that mental phenomenon, that mental aspect of alcoholism looks like. And I have both of those qualifications. I believe some people are born with the allergy. I don't believe I was born with the allergy. I think I developed it over time through the excess use of alcohol, much like a person who develops an onset of diabetes as an adult from just having too much sugar. I think that's what happened in my case. But I believe I was practically born with the mental obsession, with the mental aspect of alcoholism. And in my home group, and a lot of times you'll hear old-timers talk about how alcoholism has nothing to do with alcohol. And I very much experienced that. And what that means to me is that alcoholism is a disease of the thinking. And in that sense, alcohol was a solution to my alcoholism. So, and what does that mean? I'll talk a little bit about the thinking. But basically, I was a very nervous, anxious child. I'm from San Francisco. I'm 33 years old. I will say, I'll start out and say that thanks to the 12 Steps and the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, I am about 4 3/4 years sober, so a little bit over 4.5 years sober, and it's just wonderful. I'm also a drug addict, and I also am recovering from an eating disorder, and the 12 Steps and other 12-step fellowships have been immensely amazing in my life, and I've learned that this program can solve all my problems, not just my alcoholism. But as someone once told me, you deal with what's going to kill you first. And what was going to kill me first was drugs and alcohol. So as I was saying, I was a very nervous child. I grew up in a somewhat violent, chaotic environment. Some alcoholics grow up in perfectly calm, peaceful environments. But I grew up in one that was just kind of scary and unpredictable. And so I became a comfort-seeking missile. I was a thumb sucker. I actually think of my first drug of choice was my thumb because I sucked my thumb alcoholically, and the only intervention I've ever had in my life was actually a thumb-sucking intervention in 4th grade, in which the principal and my parents all sat me down with the teachers to tell me how my thumb-sucking was affecting everyone, and so that's the only intervention I ever had. But and I love to say that. I love to think about that idea of I sucked my thumb alcoholically. I used food at a young age alcoholically. I did cocaine alcoholically. It's very easy for me to identify as an alcoholic because to me, when I finally understood that alcoholism is a state of mind and that there is a progression to alcoholism, it was very easy for me to identify and see that in other areas outside of just alcohol, right? Alcoholism has nothing to do with alcohol. Alcohol is a solution. It was a solution to that feeling of nervousness and discomfort, fear, doubt, insecurity that I just experienced all my life. I'm definitely one of those people that felt like I was not given the manual to life that everyone else had. It has always been a struggle for me to get out of bed, I was very good at certain things. I was very good in school, and in many ways I was very gregarious, but I also was very much in my mind a lot, and I found refuge in my thinking, and I began to associate my thoughts with me, and my thoughts were reality. And I've also in a way learned through Alcoholics Anonymous that I can have thoughts that are definitely the disease. And I've learned by doing the 12 steps actually how to identify what is my alcoholic thinking and what is my authentic self or my higher power or whatever you would like to call it. So the story of my alcoholic progression is a fairly, I think, ordinary one, and it certainly is a progression. And I was basically one of those people that, I drank in high school for the first time, and I did some other things in high school as well, smoked pot, things like that. And it really just started taking off more in college, and I was the person, I went from, a couple times a month drinking, getting drunk. I never, I think I only blacked out once, and it kind of over time, and it took me about 7 years to graduate college as a theater major, because the putting on shows and the cast parties and the partying and all that became kind of a bigger part of my academic life than actually doing academics. And but over the course of college and post-college, it just went from a couple times a month to once a week to 2 times throughout the whole weekend. And then I got a job in the restaurant industry, so I became more of a Sunday through Wednesday, Thursday kind of drinker, because I was always working on the weekends, and I didn't like to go out on Saturday and Sunday nights because that's when the amateurs were going out and drinking. And me and my friends, we thought of ourselves as professional drinkers, like we knew how to handle our business and things like that. I didn't drink to pass out. I didn't like that feeling of actually a lack of control. I liked comfort. I liked the warm feeling, the sense of ease that a drink or two would give me. But I developed this problem, as I was mentioning, that physical allergy. What I discovered over time is that I just didn't want to stop at 1 or 2 drinks. And I was drinking, the drinks weren't lasting really that long, right? So I had this problem as this 5-foot-tall girl who very much got affected fairly quickly from alcohol. And I like to drink what the people around me were drinking, and I drank, we drank whiskey, and we were, things like that. And I was going to just be like everyone else and one of the boys. So I had this problem, and the problem was basically I couldn't figure out how to enjoy and control my drinking at the same time. And then I discovered something called cocaine, and cocaine allowed me to drink for 8-12 hours and not pass out. And when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, and all that's required for membership is a desire to stop drinking. So frankly, I came in and I identified as an addict. I did not think I was an alcoholic. I thought I was a drug addict, but I had a desire to stop drinking. I had a desire to stop drinking for 1 year, because I was willing to see what would happen for 1 year. I came in with reservations, and I am so grateful that I had a sponsor who didn't care whether or not I had reservations and didn't care whether or not I knew I was an alcoholic or not, because I had the first 4 chapters of the big book to read to help me realize whether or not I was an alcoholic. And once I realized what it meant to be an alcoholic and that it's a hopeless, fatal disease and how serious it is, then I was willing to go to any length after getting to chapter 4. So I am very happy to work with anyone who might have reservations or isn't sure about being an alcoholic. If you're not sure if you're an alcoholic, this is a great place to be, because you can find out if you're an alcoholic. So, good case scenario, you find out you're not an alcoholic, and you have that you can go out and drink with, the surety and comfort that you are not an alcoholic. You find out you are an alcoholic, you realize you're an alcoholic. Alcoholics Anonymous is the best place to be for that. So it's a win-win situation for anyone who is here, really. It's the best place to be. And if anyone's here, I came in to get slips signed, and, if you're coming in to get your slip signed, I think you're welcome, absolutely be welcome. And all I can, ask for you is that I recommend just listening with open ears and open mind, because this is the kind of disease you want to find out sooner or later if you have it. That's my opinion. And so take this opportunity to find out, whether or not you might be an alcoholic, whether you identify, like Mike said, to me, alcoholism is not about, I think you can drink differently. We have different kinds of consequences. We drink at different frequencies. There are people who are alcoholics who only had a couple of glasses of wine a night. There are, people who had, the pints of vodka. It all looks different. That doesn't make you an alcoholic. What you drank, where you drank, how much you drank, and what happened when you drank doesn't make one an alcoholic. My experience is that what makes one an alcoholic is how I feel when I'm not drinking, the thoughts that precede the first drink, and how that first drink makes